Hi, I'm Dr. Charles Raison. My friends call me Chuck. I'm talking to you today as the Director of Research on Spiritual Health for Emory Healthcare in Atlanta, Georgia. I've got two 11-year-old boys, and one of them is obsessed with the evolution of humans. He wants to be a paleontologist. And so talking with him has got me thinking a lot about the role of hardship and change and challenge in what it means to be a human. Because 8 million years ago, our ancestors had a really cushy life. They lived up in these trees in the rainforest. Fruit was all around them. They slept most of the day. They hung out. And that was a pretty good life. And then things began to change. The climate got hotter and drier, and the forests began to retreat. And our ancestors were faced with a choice. They could either kind of move into what was left of the rainforest and maintain that old, very comfortable way of life, or they could jump down out of the trees, start walking upright, go out on the savanna, and face all the dangers and challenges that were out there. Our ancestors jumped down out of the trees and hit the savannas, and through a lot of pain and challenge, bettered themselves, became more intelligent, developed tools, became who we are. Our closest relatives, the chimps and the bonobos, took the other course. They followed the rainforest and kept the old way of life. Now, this was not a bad thing to do. I mean, if it wasn't for us exterminating them, they were very stable. They had a very nice life. But they hadn't grown or changed for millions of years, as far as we can tell, really. Growth, change really happens in life in response to challenge, in response to difficulty. It happens in response to circumstances that force us to be more than we are, different than we are in some ways, both as a species, genetically, but it holds as a metaphor for our personal lives. And, none of us would ever choose to be in this COVID pandemic. And in fact, tremendous stressors like this, especially this one, since it's not just a personal thing, it's really a society stressor, are very powerful agents for heartache for humans, right? I mean, stressors like this produce depression, they produce anxiety, they can produce post-traumatic stress disorder. But even in the midst of doing that, they also do something else, which has been very well documented, which is they are opportunities for post-traumatic growth. As with life itself in our own lives, it is often in times of challenge and struggle and having to face something new, and often things we would never choose, that drive us to become more than we are, to go outside our comfort zone, to develop new ways of doing things, to develop resilience, to have a more open heart and a more effective way in the world. So I've been thinking a lot, and I want to encourage you to think a lot about the fact that although none of us choose hardship, although none of us would ever choose something like this pandemic, we also don't want to waste it. We really don't want to waste it as a culture and a society. I hope that we can ask ourselves how we can better our world as a result of this. But we also don't want to waste it as individuals. And I encourage you to ask yourself, in the midst of my pain, in the midst of my struggle, in the midst of my anxieties, what am I learning? What am I doing better than I was before? What can I look to that I might improve? How can I use this stressor, this challenge, this problem that I would never choose to have? How can I use it optimally to improve myself, to become more than I am? Keep us in your thoughts and prayers. We'll do the same for you. Stay well, and we'll talk to you next time.